Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm here today again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about why I hate Mortal Kombat. And yes, I'm a Mortal Kombat 1 hater, but am I a hater without reason? No. I have perfectly good reason to hate on this game. Now we're going to go through why I hate this game. This was a viewer requested video. Now they did specifically request that I talk about gameplay, but just to not make two videos to long this out, I'm going to cover everything in this video and I will end with gameplay. So if you want to get to the gameplay section, just skip to that part. We will get there, but I'm going to go through everything first. Just so you guys know that my hate is coming from a place and I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon, even though if you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, you should already know that. Now what I'm going to start with is the combat costs. The combat costs, looking back on them now, actually pissed me off quite a lot. And the reason that they pissed me off quite a lot is because I don't know what the guy that sits there on the edge between Stephanie and Tyler, but that guy in the middle was hyping up invasions mode. Hyping up invasions mode over and over again, right? Stephanie would cover the gameplay and Tyler would do the overall introducing of the game. And my man was sitting in the middle talking about either birthday shoutouts, which nobody wants to hear, and invasions. Invasions is the most garbage mode I've ever seen. And do you know what? Sometimes you can make something trash, and I get that. And maybe it's too close to finalizing the game. I mean, this game seems to have been rushed out as it is. But how dare you sit on that couch and tell us that this is such an amazing mode, that this is the next step. This is 10 steps backwards. Your crypt modes in the 3D era Mortal Kombat games, Deception and Deadly Alliance and Armageddon, were much better than this garbage. This is some of the most painful, annoying bullshit that I have ever sat through in my life. I only did the first Scorpion one and I didn't even get through the whole thing. I will never ever play Invasions again. They should be ashamed of themselves for creating something like this. Do you remember when Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance came out and they had that whole conquest mode where you use it was Shujinko, I think? I can't remember. I think it was Shujinko. It was someone, and you walk through and you play the game and challenge different people and learn their abilities or some bullshit like that. It was acceptable because it was back then. I was like, cool, they've done it, they're moving on. What did they do? They went to Deception and genuinely had an awesome story mode. I love Deception's open world feel. I love how you go to the Chaos Realm, Nether Realm, Outworld, Earth Realm, Order Realm. That was brilliant. They've never topped that. Then you go to Armageddon, and the narrative section of it is even better. There's less free roam, and it's more like a God of War experience. I was like, cool, you know, it's not as good as Deception in my opinion, but I can see why people might think it is. I can count this as progression, most certainly. And then this game, we fast forward to this game, and we get this bullshit, this Invasions trash, absolute trash. Can't believe that guy sat on the couch and said that this was going to be so much fun for everyone. Awful mode. So, cover the Invasions. Let's move away from Invasions. Talk about the story mode very briefly. I've said multiple times on this channel, chapter 1 to 10, I was like, you know what? I can dig this. This is a self-contained story. They've changed things up. They haven't changed up too many things, but they've changed up enough for it to feel fresh. I'm down with that. And then you get to chapter 10, and they're all standing there. And suddenly, Titan Shang Tsung shows up. And I'm like, hold on a minute, I thought you were dead. No, it turns out that they came up with this dumb explanation, this MCU level explanation, where in one reality, Liu Kang won, but in another reality, Shang Tsung won. And the only reason they both are able to exist is because there was some sort of singularity event. I don't know, something where the timelines branched off from the original timeline so they can both... So the original Shang Tsung and Liu Kang, I don't even know what happened. I don't even entirely get it. Did they create two timelines and then go into those timelines to win it and the originals were still fighting? If so, who won that? And if not, and they are the originals, did you know what? It doesn't even matter because these Elseworld multiverse stories are tired and contrived. I am sick of them. They are just an easy way to cop out. Kill your characters and keep them dead. Stand on business. And you know what? I don't even mind if you bring them back, but bring them back in compelling ways. I'm not going to sit here like a hypocrite and pretend like I don't like a good comeback. I do. I'm hoping that when they do Tekken 9, Heihachi's like, yo, you thought you killed me? Well, I'm back. I think that would be awesome. And it's not like Tekken hasn't done it 100 times before. Tekken 1, Kazuya throws Heihachi off a cliff. Tekken 2, Heihachi throws Kazuya off the cliff. We all think he's dead. Tekken 4, he comes back. The big reveal, that Tekken 4 opening was insane. People loved it. So I'm not against that. But this, if there was like Elseworld Kazuya and Elseworld Hayachi and Multiverse Jin, I'd be like, get that shit out of my Tekken. Tired of this MCU nonsense. So that's the story mode. I don't want to spend too much more time on it. I want to talk about the music a little bit in this game. Again, since I don't know if was it MK10. Yeah, I think MK10. Now, I do like MK10. Don't get me wrong. MK10, MKX, in my opinion, was the last good Mortal Kombat game. I think it's the best of the 2D ones since MK9 came out. But the music has been severely lacking. MK9 had good music, and the previous MK games had very good music, dating back to the digitized ones, which had outstanding music. In more recent years, and to focus on MK1, the music is so forgettable. It's so forgettable. That Mortal Kombat feel, that techno 80s/90s feel is gone. It's gone. And it's not that they replaced it with something better. I couldn't tell you a single track in this game. You go over to other fighting games, Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, Dragon Ball, Tekken, BlazBlue, Grand Blue, King of Fighters. You can name any of them. They've all got memorable music in them. But Mortal Kombat, for whatever reason, just seems to have dog shit. And I don't understand, because there was a time when Mortal Kombat had genuinely good music. Like, even in MK9, I know they didn't include some of the Skrillex tracks, but those are still MK9 tunes. You can go on YouTube and listen to them. The Reptile theme from back in the day on Skrillex did for him was incredible. Even the music from the films, incredible. The iconic Mortal Kombat music is from the first film. But these days, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if they're just paying their children to do the music for them, or if they're drunk and half asleep when they're doing it, or they just don't care. They don't really rate music. But to me, in a fighting game, music is a very, very big deal. And they just seem to ignore it now. So the music is extremely lackluster for me in Mortal Kombat 1, unfortunately. Now, when you look at this menu screen, I'll bring up the menu screen here. For those of you just listening, I'll talk you through what's going on. I didn't want to put too much images up that are not me playing Tekken in the background, just so people can listen to this in their earphones. They don't really have to watch the screen. But if you look at the menu here, you have story, garbage, invasions, garbage, and towers. In towers, it's the same old shit that it's always been. It's very boring. I've played it. It's again, it's just recycled. You know, I feel like I've played this 1,000 times. I'm checked out. So those are your three main offline modes, other than obviously fighting opponents online. Fighting your friends or playing practice mode. Outside of that, there's nothing here. There's nothing. This is bare bones. There's no time attack. There's no mini games, which I'm going to get to in a second, actually. You know what? Let's jump over to mini games, because there's nothing to talk about here. There's no mini games. For a game that comes from Mortal Kombat 11, right? Mortal Kombat 11 being the previous one that sold very, very well. I believe it sold better than Mortal Kombat, Tekken and Street Fighter combined, if not, then very close. And if not, still the number one selling between them. Where's all the money? Exactly. Where is all the money? There's no mini games in this. No chess combat, no combat kart, no Tetris, nothing. Nothing. As you have gone on, you have sold more games, you have done better. You've been bought by a company that has a lot of money, although according to my comment section, Warner Brothers is going broke. I didn't know that, but they just don't release the game. How about that? And if you're going to release it, make it function properly. So there's no mini games whatsoever. There's no incentive for me to boot this up like I would with my friends back in the day and be like, you know what, we don't really want to have proper fights right now. We kind of want to just play chess combat. Chess combat was great. Honestly, it was fantastic. The best mini game they've ever had. Combat Kart was brilliant. Couldn't fault it. Yeah, was it as intricate as Mario Kart? No, obviously not. But who cares? It's a Mortal Kombat game. The fact that they even gave us a Mario Kart style game in a fighting game was insane to me. It felt like when they were midway, they were so ambitious and they were so willing to try things. Now it just feels like they don't want to work on their own game. It's like they don't like their own game. There's the customization in this game, which is so bad. The customization in this game is so lame. When you go to a game like Tekken and you see what Tekken offers you, and then you see what this game offers you, it's just like, what are you doing? And you know why it's even more painful for this? Because in Armageddon, they had a whole customization section where you can create your own character. You telling me they couldn't take that from, take it onto this game, which has more money behind it, a bigger team, and they couldn't create something from that where you can craft your own Shao Kahn, you can craft your own Scorpion? You telling me you couldn't do that? Absolutely unacceptable. The customization in this game is dog shit. Absolute dog shit. And then you go over to the store, or we'll start with the shrine, and you play this RNG section where you dump coins and this dragon burns them, and then you wait and you see what you've unlocked, and it's probably something that you don't want and you don't need. So annoying. If I play Mortal Kombat, my main is Shao Kahn. I want Shao Kahn stuff. I don't want to be sitting there cycling through hours, okay? I'm a grown fucking man. I'm 31 years old. Give me what I want. I want to go about my day. Now, before anyone says, oh, go outside and touch grass. Look, I touch plenty of grass, okay? I don't need to go out and touch anymore. When you hear me sitting here talking about this is not me sitting here playing games for 8 hours a day, okay? I do other things. I have other things going on. But if we're talking about the game, then I'm going to talk about the game. And if I'm playing the game, I want the game to function how I want the game to function, okay? So don't come with these dumb arguments. It's like, go out and touch grass. Go and do something else for some other time. You clicked on the video to listen to someone talk about Mortal Kombat, and that's what I'm doing, okay? If you don't like it, you go outside and touch grass. They have this store in Mortal Kombat where things rotate, and I don't like it, because it makes you feel like you have to jump on to buy something or be there when something's going on to get it. And it's like, oh, I missed it, I need to wait for it to come back around. And do you know what a lot of people do that are diehards for this game? They buy those tokens or those blood things to get their favorite costume or to get something on the store that they really want to see, so that they don't miss out. And I think it's a bit of a dirty business practice personally. I think it's a bit shady. I think that it's a bit, it feels like you're exploiting your player base. I heard about the shambolic situation with the Sub-Zero skin, and you know, just the general pricing around things is pretty pathetic. I don't know why you would charge people through their arse for certain content, but the store situation is just ridiculous. I think WB should be ashamed of themselves for what they're doing with that. Now, I would talk about the online. I guess I should, very briefly. The online is garbage. The online is garbage. There's no other way to put it. There was a time where I thought Mortal Kombat had amazing online. I think that was probably back in MK11. I really encountered very minimal issues. Maybe that was just my personal experience, but my experience on Mortal Kombat 1 and the experience of so many people that I've spoken to is basically the same. Desync, desync, desync. Why did I get a loss? Why am I getting a loss? What did I do? I did nothing. The game did it for me. I was playing this game and I was unbeaten at one point. It wasn't much. I think it was like 11-0 or something. But I synced with somebody, it desynced, and I got a loss. Now, because I don't really care about records anymore, I was like, okay, whatever. But I could 100% understand if I was recording for content and it was all about how unbeaten I am, why I would be pissed off. On top of that, it's just very, very laggy. The Wi-Fi filter apparently has just come in, which is, you know, how long's this game been out? 6 months? What, 4, 5, 6 months? Ridiculous. Absolutely shambolic. I don't even know if it works properly. I haven't tested it. Knowing NRS, it doesn't. I know they just put a patch out. The game is still desyncing, funnily enough, so whatever. And there's no crossplay. There's no crossplay, and the game came out how long ago? No crossplay for a fighting game in 2024. That's a joke. I don't know what they're doing over there in NRS, but they have 100% got to stick up their bum. They have to. There's just no way they released this game in this state. I mean, clearly this game was supposed to be Injustice. It was supposed to be Injustice. You can see it's plastered all over it. It's a rushed mess. Garbage. Hot garbage. Now, I've got all my gripes of the game outside or out of the way now. Someone wanted me to talk about the gameplay and specifically what I don't like, and we're going to go over what I don't like now. Alright, so I'll bring up the screen now. So we've got Shao Kahn on the screen. First thing that I'm going to point out is I don't like the fact that grabbing is a complete guess in this game. What do I mean by that? If I do the forward grab, there's no visual indicator to tell you that I'm doing the forward grab. If I do the back grab, there's no visual indicator to tell you that I'm doing the back grab. So essentially, grabbing becomes a complete guessing game, right? In Street Fighter, which is another 2D fighting game, when you grab somebody, it's a one button tech, which is actually something they had in Injustice. I don't know why they took it away. In Tekken, there's visual indicators and there's generic throws where you can break with any button. So you can visually see what they're going for, and that's really what separates the boys from the men. But in Mortal Kombat, there's no visual indicators, nothing. You are just guessing. You're guessing for your life. Now imagine being in a tournament and Shao Kahn's walking up to you and he grabs you. And you see the grab, so you press a button in time, but you press the wrong button. There's no visual indicator. I don't like competitive games that make it more about luck. I don't like that shit at all. I think that's lame. So the throws I'm not a fan of. I don't like how clunky it feels. Mortal Kombat's always felt clunky, and this one's no different. I'm just not a fan of the movement in this game. It doesn't feel completely free. Granted, it feels good enough by Mortal Kombat standards, but it's not for me. I really don't like how clunky it feels. I know that might be a throwaway point to some people, but all of these fighting games feel different, and this is a video about my personal gripes about the game, and that's one of my personal gripes. So, moving on from that, one thing I don't like about this game is I don't like how pressure works in it. I don't like the fact that you're fighting a Johnny Cage player and they're just staggering you to death. Is there a way out of it? Yeah, there is. Is it heavily in Johnny Cage's favor? Yes. Obviously, everyone knows that. That's one of the reasons why Johnny Cage is so top. When you're blocking, Johnny Cage is just running a train on you. And it's not just Johnny Cage. The cameos add to it as well. Cameos will allow you to continue pressure, and I just don't find it fun. It's not that I can't deal with it. Like I said, if you're going to type some bullshit like that, please go through the archives. I got to Elder God rank on more than one account, and there's videos up. So if you need proof, you're more than welcome to go look. But you don't have to. I'm not telling you to go watch my content, but don't type that bullshit. Oh, you can't do it. Yeah, I can. Okay, I'm just telling you I don't like it. Okay, let's not be children about this. I know it's hard for some of you in the Mortal Kombat scene, but let's not be children about this. So I don't like the way pressure works in this game. I don't like the lack of defensive mechanics. I know that there's up block. I think up block's a pretty decent mechanic, to be honest with you. I'm not mad at it, and I like the punishment for getting it wrong. I think that's pretty good, so I'll give them praise there. One thing I've always hated about Mortal Kombat, and that's true in this game, is I don't like how fireballs work. Now, in pretty much every other fighting game, and I mean every other fighting game, when people shoot fireballs, 9 times out of 10, almost 10 times out of 10, the fireballs will clash, and you'll start a fireball war. So if you get Ryu and Ken, if you get Geese and Akuma, if you get Kyo and Iori, if you get Goku and Vegeta, if you get anybody from any fighting game and they start shooting fireballs at each other, the fireballs clash. Then it becomes a case of who is going to use their fireball more effectively, knowing that it clashes with the opponents, who's going to use meter to beef up their fireball to pass through their opponents, who is going to correctly jump at the right time to punish their opponent, or who's just got the better inputs and is going to shoot the sonic boom across the screen to beat the Hadouken. All of those become this game that you play with your opponent over who can space control with fireballs the best and who can shoot them off the best, right? Because sometimes it comes down to who's putting the input in the quickest. That doesn't happen in Mortal Kombat. It happens for maybe one character. I think Sub-Zero's clashes with fireballs, and I think there's a couple others here and there that eat them up. But for the most part, when you shoot fireballs in Mortal Kombat, they just fly through the opponent. And I think that is such a stupid... It's almost like they forget to develop that part. The plasma that Li Mei will shoot will go through the shuriken that Reiko shoots, or whatever other projectile is coming across the screen. It's so dumb. Even in a game that old school fighting game players consider to be a party game, like Super Smash Bros., has a feature that allows fireballs to clash with each other. In all of fighting games, this is a thing. But in Mortal Kombat, it's not. And someone will say, well, that's just part of Mortal Kombat's identity. Correct, it is. And it's a shit part of it. They should change it. It's garbage. It eliminates a whole style of play. And it comes down to who has the better fireball. That's all it comes down to. Who has the better fireball. You can outplay somebody with a better fireball than you in Street Fighter using your fireball if you're good enough. But not in Mortal Kombat. You can guess and jump, of course. But if you're having a fireball war with somebody, then, you know, do you guys remember having fireball wars with Cetrion? Yeah, good luck. That was fun. Another thing I don't like about Mortal Kombat is that everything does chip damage in this game. Everything. Now, they do have a last breath system and a last stand or whatever it's called, but I just don't think it's good enough. Everything doing chip in this game is trash. It's trash. especially in a game where you have characters that can just stagger you to death in block. Then you've got cameos like Kung Lao's, where they can keep up the pressure. We've all seen Sonic Fox's Sindelti, where he just keeps up the pressure and you're just there. You're stuck in block stun. It's a frustrating experience. So I don't like the chip damage in this game. I don't like the fact that when you start the rounds, the person who gets the first hit gets a whole bar of meter, considering the meter has plays a massive part in the way the game is shaped, because you use your meter for breakers. Also, actually, just before I go on to breakers, I just want to say that I don't mind things doing chip damage in fighting games, but there should be a system in place that would allow you to recover if everything does chip, but this game doesn't. Anyway, moving on. So the meter system, I don't like how when you start the round and you hit somebody, you automatically get a chunk of meter. I know that's another mainstay in NRS games or Mortal Kombat games, but I just don't like it. It's not for me. I think it's a little bit silly. I just think it's weird in a competitive fighting game for that to happen. I find it so weird. But again, I know NRS players like it, but someone asked me why I don't like this game and why I've had a problem with Mortal Kombat for a while, and I'm just letting you know. I don't like the whole Cameo system. I think the Cameo system is lame. I really don't. I think it was implemented poorly. I think there was potential here for it to be really good. I don't think they did it very well. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I don't think they did it well at all. It feels like there's a couple of cameos that completely dominate the game, and that's it. You will get your cameos here and there, but for the most part, you see the same shit everywhere. Striker, Kung Lao. You know, they nerfed Cyrax into the ground, and Cyrax deserved a nerf. I don't know if the nerf that they gave him was justified. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just not a fan of the cameo system. I just don't like the level of pressure you're able to maintain with it. And because everything does chip, I just find it to be very annoying. I don't like the flawless block mechanic. I know there's so many things I don't like, but I don't like it. I think it's a poorly implemented parry system. I think it's very lopsided in the sense that offense seems a bit too powerful, considering if you mess up that flawless block even a little bit, and it's not the easiest thing to time, it's not particularly the hardest, but when someone's just mashing on you, I know someone's going to say skill issue, whatever, you can drop those comments in the comment section. I honestly, it lets me know who the dummies are, but I don't like the flawless block system at all. I think Street Fighter's parry mechanic and the defensive options in Tekken are far superior, even the defensive options in Guilty Gear. I just think Mortal Kombat's defensive options are pretty lame, although I don't mind up block. I think up block is pretty decent if I'm going to throw them a bone. And lastly, if I was going to really touch on anything, it's that I feel like Mortal Kombat 1 has a serious lack of player expression. I don't feel like you can express yourself the way you can in other fighting games. Now, I think maybe using Tekken might be a bit unfair as a comparison, so I'm going to use Street Fighter 4. In Street Fighter 4, I know that people used to travel to learn the style of the region that they were going to. For example, people in the UK played differently to the people in Japan. They had their own style, their own... You knew that when you were watching a certain Akuma on screen, you knew that was Takedo's Akuma. You knew that when you were watching a certain Ryu on screen, you knew that was Daigo's Ryu. And you knew when you were watching a certain Guile on screen, you knew, without even looking at the names, that was Knuckle Doo's Guile. And that kind of went away in Street Fighter 5. People lost the ability to express themselves because the games were very limited in what you could do. I believe that the same can be said for Mortal Kombat 1. I know that there's loads of options in terms of cameos and how you can construct a team, but really when you boil it down to it, there's not actually much going on here. Everyone's pretty much doing the same thing. There's not a massive amount of player expression in Mortal Kombat 1, there just isn't. There's very limited movesets and very limited ways to play the game. I will use Tekken in this talking point just so you guys kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from, but it's very well known that people travel to different countries to learn different styles. So people will travel to Pakistan to learn the Pakistani style. People will travel to Korea to learn the Korean style. Where do you think Korean backdashing came from? People will travel to Japan to learn their style, and over here in Europe, or in the UK, we have our own style. And this is something that pretty much anyone that plays Tekken can attest to. There is a real sense of player expression. I really feel like when I boot up Tekken, or even when I boot up Street Fighter 4, I am creating and crafting my own style. Even away from those games. On Soul Calibur 5, you really could tell who was playing who. You could. I remember people come up to me and they'll be like, bro, I knew that was your algo. I knew that was your algo. I had my own combos that I created and put on YouTube that people then went on to replicate. And even then, people put their own spin on it. There was a lot of room for expression and a lot of room to express how you want to play the game, not just in combos, but in movement options, in the way you apply your normals, in the way that you maybe set up traps, because I played a character that could set up traps. And in Tekken, I don't feel like people play Marduk the way I play him. I genuinely feel that, and that's not to say my Marduk is better than anybody else's. I don't think it is, but I feel like I've come up with my own style. And in Tekken 8, Tekken 8 is very complicated as well. People that think it's less complicated than Tekken 7 are actually wrong. If you dive into the mechanics available in Tekken 8, they've complicated things a lot. The heat system is actually very complicated. So I feel like you can express yourself really, really well in Tekken 8. And in Mortal Kombat 1, you just can't do that. I also think you can express yourself to a decent degree on Street Fighter 6. Again, in Mortal Kombat 1, I just don't feel like you can do that. Player expression is very, very, very important for me on a fighting game. And when I feel like I'm doing the same shit as everybody else, because I kid you not, if there's a combo video up on Mortal Kombat 1 and you attempt to do it, you'll get it down within 5 minutes. There's nothing in this game where you're like, oh, let me try this out and see if it works. It all kind of just falls into place and everyone's doing the same shit, much like it was in Street Fighter 5. It's boring. I know that there's some things here and there that people do, and I don't know, man. There's just not enough there for me. There's not enough. I don't feel like I can express myself in this game the way I want, or in Mortal Kombat 1 the way I want to. So I might have missed a couple of things here and there, but to be honest with you, the game's very bare bones, so there's not really much for me to talk about. Graphically, it's nice. You know, it's nice, but that's to be expected. Mortal Kombat's always looked pretty good graphically. There's not really much more to say. There's too much here for me to like the game. I didn't like the story mode. I didn't like invasions. Towers is boring. Online doesn't work properly. It's got too many bugs, even when they patch it. The gameplay feels very unbalanced. Not unbalanced in the sense that characters are not viable, because I think the worst character in this game can still give the best character a real run for their money. I don't like the offense to defense balance. That's just a personal gripe of mine. And then outside of the gameplay, the shrine is garbage, the customization is garbage, the music is garbage. It just feels like there's nothing here. And then when I look at the upcoming release of Tekken 8 and I see that there's amazing music, a whole jukebox so I can customize the music, amazing graphics, amazing stages, a whole story mode that looks exciting, although that remains to be seen. Customizations options. The only thing that's really holding Tekken back right now that I'm kind of worried about is the online. Hopefully the online works the way we want it to, and if it does, then we're in for a treat. If it doesn't, then we're in for problems, and I will be talking about that on this channel. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I'm not here glazing Tekken, because when the heat system was introduced, I was the first one to jump on my channel and go, what the hell is this? What have you put in my Tekken? And I did a whole video on the first closed network test, and I said, I don't like heat. I don't think it's good. I think they've actually ruined Tekken. And I was really disappointed. But they've changed heat like 6 or 7 times since then, which is completely fine because the game's not out yet. If they were doing it while the game was out, it would be quite frustrating. But the game's not come out, and now I feel like heat is in a place where it's exciting. They've crafted a system that is exciting. It's not too overwhelming, but it's powerful enough to be like, yo, I need to look out for that. It's exciting, and on top of that, the roster it's a pretty good roster. There's a couple duds in there, namely Shahid and Panda. But outside of that, they've pretty much nailed it. So that's why I don't like Mortal Kombat, and that's why I'm excited for Tekken. For anyone that was confused why I was going so hard on the hate train, I paid a lot of money for this game because they sold me a dream. They sat on that couch, Tyler, Stephanie, and the guy that sits in the middle, and they sold us a dream. And I'm the dumbass that paid for the premium collector's edition, and it wasn't worth it, and I'm annoyed about it. And like I said, if you don't like it, you ain't got to click on the videos, but I'm going to continue to express my annoyance with it. And now that I've told you why I don't like the game, I'm going to continue talking about the community and things that I see going on. And by the way, if you've gotten to the end of the video, I'd just like to say, if you needed evidence that this game was dying on the competitive circuit, Combo Breaker's coming up, and Mortal Kombat's not there. Now, I've seen people coping about NRS players sign up late. I don't even understand why, but okay, whatever. Maybe they will sign up late, but as far as I can tell, Mortal Kombat 1's not on there. So, if you needed any more proof, there's that, and there's Twitch. Go and look at the Twitch numbers. Nobody's watching. The only people that are watching are people that are watching Sikander's stream, and even he hates the game. Or Foxy's. Or Ketchup and Mustard. Outside of that, there's nothing else going on in this game. There's nothing going on. It's a dud. And I want this game to fail. I do. I want it to fail. I feel bad saying that because I know there's a lot of players out there that have been excited. They wanted to grow their channels using this, but I want this to fail, to let it be a lesson to NRS and Warner Bros. To actually put their back into it next time and provide us with a game that is worth the price tag, because this is not it. I won't be supporting this game going forward. I don't care if they change up to a point where it becomes fun, just because of this initial treatment of the community and how much they charged us for basically bare bones garbage. I'm done with it. I'm only here to talk about it. I ain't playing it no more. So that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Take care and peace.